What's up, Gemini? So we got a card description from this card was pulled from the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck by Adriana Yales, and then we'll do the actual reading itself. So this particular card is Passion Flower with the subtext of surrender, sacrifice, surrender, choosing growth, trusting discernment, rituals of letting go. Passion flower, a precious botanical native to Central and South America, was named for the passion of the Christ, referring to his suffering and death by Roman Catholic priests in the 1500s. It was also called La Flor de las Cinco Llagas, or the flower of the five wounds, referring to the Christ's stigmata. The 5 petals and the 5 petal-like sepals of this flower represent the 10 apostles who remained faithful to Jesus throughout the Passion. The circle of hair-like rays above the petals represents Jesus' crown of thorns. Since its introduction into European herbal medicine, passion flower has been used as an antispasmodic, hypnotic, anodyne, anxiolytic, sedative, and nervous system tonic. The leaf tea became popular in North American medicine in the mid-1800s. For similar uses as those in South America traditions, passion flower tranquilizes edgy nerves and helps with insomnia, mood disorders, headaches, colic, migraines, menstrual cramps, diarrhea, neuralgia, eye disorders, epilepsy, convulsions, and muscle spasms and pain. To this day, passion flower is used by many shamans in floral baths to calm and cleanse the spirit. Passion flower is considered a bridge to Christ consciousness, which assists in direct communications with the mystical voice within. It was also used as an incense to alter the energy of spaces that were stressed, traumatized, or disrupted. Passion flower is ruled by the mighty powers of Neptune, the planet of the spiritual realization, religious experiences, the spirit world, and Maya, the great illusion. Passion flower symbolizes surrender, sacrifice, the crucifixion of the ego. Passion flower resembles, this is the guidance portion. Passion flower resembles the need to sacrifice in order to make space and move forward. The all-seeing double-headed owl symbolizes the great understanding perceived from both sides, whether it be upside down or inside out, and bestows the goddess passion flower with unseen truths as she performs rituals for letting go. Owl is symbolic of discernment and able to light up what needs to be seen. Passion flower today might reflect the need to suspend actions that aren't aligned to your spiritual path. Are there certain decisions or actions you've made that you must sacrifice in order to reassess your direction? Honor your intuition. It's okay if projects or original ideas come to an unexpected halt. Discernment is key to experience greater truth and opportunities. Okay. Few hits. I will say, I think you guys should understand, most of you hopefully know this by now, but if you don't, I'll tell you anyway. The idea of Gemini rules over commerce, trade, and businesses and entrepreneurship in general. So if you guys have been starting to kind of think about those things, that could be something that you really need to worry about in terms, or not worry about, but start to think about in terms of the transitions that you may need to make, right? And that may require you to sacrifice in order to make the transitions. So in terms of the sacrifices that a lot of you guys may have to make, you should be understanding that things may that the discomfort from transitioning from let's say something like a 9 to 5 into a entrepreneurship, those things aren't going to be easy, right? It's not something that you can just flip of the coin and do, and then when you got you got like all types of things to worry about in terms of financial obligations and things like that. So start to look at that and understand what you really want to do. And also the idea here of this idea of the Gemini archetype. Just follow me for a second. I think I'm going a little bit deep, but hopefully not too much. The idea of Gemini, that archetype, rolls over books, right? Text, in that particular regard. You may have the ability to really give and talk with an understanding of, or not, and carry really with you the influence, the understanding of the books that you may read and the books you may come in contact with, or even the videos that you may watch. So, for instance, when you talk to a person, or talk to anything else, or talk to a friend or anything like that, you may be able to simply really carry that energy into that conversation from those particular things that you've consumed in terms of your books and the videos and whatever you kind of started to kind of look into. So that right there, that object, that idea of what you can spread and help people with, you should start to understand that as something that you can carry with you, especially when you carry a deep understanding. It's just a book that you've kind of like really been studying, or concepts that you've really been studying, or whatever, and you can maybe like talk to that person really with an energetic imprint that's more so geared to that particular text, or those things that you may feel like that person needs to really come into contact with. This idea of what was done, what happened here, you should also be aware that you have an ability to absorb information the same way. So that same way you can kind of transform that energy imprint maybe into those books or texts that you kind of read. You should understand yourself as being able to digest information and it to have a really more of an impact on you now in terms of what you go through, right? So understand that, and don't see that as something that you can just this just here for 1 second and it's fleeting and it'll be gone the next. It's something that you can carry with you to help other people as well. This idea of what you need to do, it's there's an element of sacrifice in here, right? So if these things, if some of these things in terms of not these things, but the idea of entrepreneurship and chasing entrepreneurship doesn't quite resonate with you, maybe you can understand what it does mean in terms of what needs to be sacrificed right now. Yeah, it's very important that you understand that. An experiment done where there was an experiment done where they had two corresponding participants to this experiment. One participant was told, "Hey, look, we're just going to shock you. Tell us when to stop." Right? That was kind of the cut and dry experiment. With the second experiment, what they said was, "We're going to shock you, and you can say stop whenever you want, but in the next room is your loved one, and we'll shock, and they'll take your shocks instead, or they'll take the rest of the shocks." And that person in the second experiment was able to take more shocks than the first experiment, right? And I bring that experiment up in terms of just to really tell you that whatever you may be sacrificing now, what you may be sacrificing for, you need to understand that in a lot of cases you could be just like that person in the second corresponding experiment, right? You could really be there with those, like, in that particular room and taking the shocks for the next generation or for the loved one. You should really understand that and really look into who you could potentially help more or who you're harming if you haven't surrendered what you feel like you really need to, and who's really taking the brunt of that. This is something that you may need to also practice meditation for sure, but also the idea of what is it, being there's a particular drink where it's herbal, but it is like it kind of like it has a more sedative effect. It's not, and we're not talking about mushrooms or anything like that, but there's something out there, and this is important enough for me to look up. Let me see. Herb drink. Kava, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys want to really try kava, I think that might be something that you may be wanting to look at right now, and also look at the kava reading. Where's the last kava reading I had? Scorpio, the Shinigami Squad. I think I had a few kava readings, but that's the first one that came to. That's something that you can also look at as well. And I really, really want you guys to think about this element of what it means to what sacrifice really means in terms of where you're at now and where you can go, and what kind of opportunities really light up for you guys. And in any case, I will end the reading there. If anything, just I'll see you next week. Have a good week.